What's up, people? This is your boy Levelhead, and this is Alive and Level Gamers Podcast. Our quick E3 review. This is not our typical scheduled podcast. This is just us jumping on to give our overall thoughts of what we've seen up to this point. EA, Bethesda, Ubisoft, Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, and even the Treehouse, all the stuff that we've seen. We are here to give our opinions, our quick thoughts. This will not be super long. We're shooting for like 30 minutes, and I am watching the clock heavily. So I got Keith Norris here, got K Bone 20. They can both say what up if they want to. We will go ahead.
Yeah, what's up, everybody? A little get in the background, so if you hear some fun laughing and stuff like that, that's my son. But yeah, I'm here to.
And K Bone 20.
Yeah. What's up, y'all? I'm here driving home from work, but I got time to get in and get my thoughts in. So let's do this.
All right. So, like I said, this is not our regular podcast. We will be back on tomorrow, 8:30 is in our normal times, and we go into more depth. But we felt the need. We tried to do this yesterday, it just wouldn't work out because I didn't feel like going to get my laptop, and I was trying to do it from a tablet. Anyway, so blame it on my laziness. But so let's get it in, man. So let's just start with the word go according to the schedule that each one was shown. Let's talk about EA first. Let's just give our overall thoughts. What was your thoughts, K Bum of EA?
Um, I've been looking at Twitter and looking online, and obviously, I'm kind of uh, uh, I'm not the norm when it comes to what I thought about EA. A lot of people gave it really poor reviews, but I thought it was decent. Um, to me, it was good seeing the Madden, seeing the actual. I've been waiting to see what they're going to do with that actual story mode. So that was good to see that. Uh, Good to see some of the FIFA. Um, it was good to see Battlefield, Star Wars. I still have hope that this game can be good. So I was happy to see that. So overall, I thought it was a decent conference. Definitely, they ended with a bang with Anthem. So that was awesome. But I just hope it doesn't turn to kind of a Titanfall. How Titanfall was supposed to be the next best thing in the shooter, and it kind of just became meh. So I got a pretty decent score. I mean, I thought it was cool. I was entertained. I know a lot of people wasn't, but I know I was entertained from what I saw with EA. So that's my views on that.
Keith?
EA was kind of meh to me. I mean, they had a few games. The Need for Speed had this burnout type of feel to it, but it looked pretty good. Was it them that announced a way out? Like it was like a two-player co-op game. I think it was
Yeah,
them.
yeah. I forgot to mention.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was a
yeah,
game that I was
that was
actually
the
very excited about. Was Way Out. So I forgot to mention that.
The graphics, but the idea and the concept of the game was pretty cool. So I really like that. And like K-Bone said, they ended with a banger with Anthem, and of course, with Microsoft. But overall, I thought it was a little mad, but they did have some gems in there that I thought were pretty cool that I'm looking forward to.
yeah. I'm kind of in the same boat. I thought it was kind of boring, and I feel like EA's problem is they talk to the K Bum type and not us. If that's fair to say, K Bum, you are a Madden fanatic. You understand all those intricacies that they talk about and all the changes and the way that the physics and all this stuff work and how not frostbite, but how what engine they did, whatever their engines are, what they use to
It's
do
first
stuff.
Frostbite. It's Frostbite.
Yeah, frostbite. Okay, so you because you're into those games like that and know like esports and not necessarily esports, but competitive gameplay like that. That's right up your alley. So you were very into that. But a person like me who just want to see the game and see how it plays, it didn't do nothing for me because to me it was too spliced together too much talking, not enough letting the game speak for itself. And so it's kind of boring to me. That's what I would say with EA. But Anthem, I think Microsoft did better with showing Anthem, but because I feel like if we were just left with what EA showed of Anthem, would we have anything to go off of if we didn't see it through Microsoft's press conference? So I thought EA was mad too. It was, to me, it was the weakest of the conferences, to be honest. But they like that every year. Like they basically take the same script they did the year before and replay it with new games on it. But that's what I would say. That Need for Speed did stand out to me though. I say that, and that co-op game. I liked how they are, what they're doing for. I don't know if you call them indie developers, but I like what they're doing for new developers, giving them opportunities and actually investing in their titles and different things like that. I think EA trying to find that next big title and bringing in these unknown not anonymous but unknown developers and teaming with them to create their games. I think that was cool too.
I do have something to add on that. Can I add something on that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. So I forgot to mention about the No Way Out game, and yeah, to me, uh, what I saw in the conference, and this is probably why I give it a better rating than a lot of people, is that I saw a emphasis. They put a lot of emphasis on co-op couch play, which is something that's actually has been dying over the past couple of years. And the fact that they said in that in No Way Out game that this game was designed for couch co-op, and you don't see that nowadays. So I thought that was awesome to take that direction. And with a couple other games, they took that direction that they were going to give you couch. I thought that was a
Right.
good direction by EA, and I gave them a high five, a virtual high five for that decision. And one more piece before I get out of here. I did like the fact because not too many people make games like No Way Out anymore. I know EA was always doing that Army of Two. I know it was a terrible game, terrible game. But it was me and my brother played it every time because it's not too many of those co-op games anymore. Like that gives you the same kind of feel you did back when you played Contra back in Nintendo days. And the last piece is Level. You said something about them taking smaller, exorbitant smaller development groups. EA's been doing that since they've been EA. That's what they do. They take in smaller development groups and then they grow them within the system and absorb them. It's kind of in their nature. If you go back and look at the history of EA, you're going to see a lot of that. I remember back in the day with Bullfrog. That was one of the up and coming development companies that they took in and kind of they made that EA. Even I believe the Sims people were another group that was sucked up into EA and they made them EA. So it's kind of in their DNA is what they do. So
I didn't know that. That was my, because they had never really showcased that in one of their events, so it was new to me. So it stood out to me. And right, the co-play was pretty cool, but that's something Nintendo's pretty much been the only one seemingly concerned about couch co-op. Everybody else seemed to be more on multiplayer online. So it was cool to see them pay emphasis to that too. Keith, you got any last words on EA before we move on?
No.
All right. So I'll start with you, man. What was your thoughts on Microsoft?
All right. So I don't believe in the whole somebody can win E3, but I will give it to Microsoft. But the only thing before I get into the positive, the two negatives I felt like were show me why X,
You going out? You kind of going out.
they showed too many games. Like I didn't get enough time to actually just really let it marinate on what games they were showing. But on the positive side, they did exactly what we wanted them to do. They showed games, whether it be now or it's coming to PlayStation later or maybe PC later. But they showed you 42 games that's going to be able to be played on the Xbox family of consoles. And I think they did a really good job with that. Unfortunately, I can't think of one game that really just stood out to me. But like I said, there's so many games being thrown at you outside of Anthem, but that's an EA game. That's not even necessarily Microsoft. But yeah, I think they did a good job. I love the presentation from the stage to how everything was. The transitions between games, the lack of transitions, meaning they just went right into the next game like a daisy chain. And I think they did a good job this year. But let me go mute because this dude throwing a bowl.
Okay. Yeah, man. They did show a lot of games, but it is kind of crazy that I don't remember all of them. Go ahead, K-Bun. What was your take on EA? Microsoft.
Microsoft, no problem. I thought Keith gave a really good comment. It showed a lot of games, but nothing really sticks out to you. I guess the only one that stuck out to me is the racing game they showed at the front at the beginning was this Forza, Anthem, what they showed, and also Assassin's Creed, and all of those except for Forza are cross platforms. But I thought Microsoft answered a lot of the things that we've been saying all year, which is where are the games? Where are the games? What am I playing on my Xbox? What am I playing? And I thought they did an excellent job of giving you and showing you and being slick, but giving you something which is some level of exclusivity with some of their games. So I thought that was really cool what they did. But I can't give them everything because they didn't actually give me a reason to buy the X. I don't think they did that. So I can't give them. I give them credit for showing games, excellent, but not enough for actually giving a great reason on why you should own the X. I don't think I saw that, and I don't think they're really going to be able to do that, especially at $4.99.
Yeah, I would say with Microsoft, I feel like they had a decent press conference. I give them a solid B. They had games, even though a lot of those games could be found elsewhere or was launch exclusive, meaning I guess that means it's going to launch first on the Xbox but come out to other systems at a later date. I don't know. I didn't get that launch exclusive. That was a phrasing that I'm not really familiar with. I did like the Lucky game, but the crazy thing about it is that's the game me and you played on Virtual Console that for VR, as a tech demo. Yeah, VR.
It was a real game. It was a real game. It wasn't a demo.
Yeah, it was a demo of a real game, but it's for virtual reality. And on was that the Oculus? Yeah, that was Oculus. So
yeah.
We had already played it, so when I saw it, I was like, "Wow, they actually showing a game that we played before." So I can attest that the game is fun. It plays like a 3D, a Mario 3D World like game. It plays like a Mario game, but not. It ain't as polished as Mario, but it's in the vein. It's pretty decent. So that was pretty cool. The Anthem blowout for the EA game was dope. I thought Anthem looked good. I like some of the spotlights they had on some of the smaller titles, but like I said, I just can't remember none of them because that was basically Sunday, and here we are Wednesday. So we've seen so much since then. I guess we can go into more detail tomorrow when we do our real blown out podcast. But overall, I think Microsoft was decent. I don't think they done enough to sell me the Xbox One X. I don't know if I even like the name, but hey, it is what it is. That's a lot of X's for.
I think that's gonna be a problem actually, with uninformed parents when their son says, "Mom, give me the Xbox S," and they hear X, or they thought that they heard X, but it's really S. I think that may be a problem with parents. I don't think they thought that through.
Yeah, it could be. It could be a potential problem, but I would say, if they go in there and they say the Xbox One X and they see the price, and then I'm pretty sure I don't know the competence of a lot of these. When we did the whole best with the GameStop thing, I don't know if the competence is there. So yeah, it might be a problem. Now that I think about it, because when we called GameStop, they couldn't tell us nothing about the Switch. So, yeah, so
Even the Pro.
let me
Yeah,
back.
Pro. They couldn't tell you about the Pro either.
Yeah, yeah, they couldn't tell us about nothing. They was confused on every part of it. So anyway, well, yeah, was that the Pro? Was that the play? Yeah, that was about the PlayStation Pro, and they couldn't tell me if it played Blu-rays. It couldn't tell us nothing, man. They didn't even know it was 4K. But anyway, what's next? Ubisoft. I'm gonna go first on this one, man. I think Ubisoft to me stood out as one of the highlights of this E3. I think Ubisoft, and I say it for this reason. I liked how they started out. I like the fact that they came out the gate with the Mario Rabbids game and they showed legit excitement for the game. They seem to be really not just a company that sells games, but a company that is proud about the games that they make. I liked all what they showed and the fact that some of that stuff we will get to play this year. Isn't Assassin's Creed Origin coming out this year? Am I wrong on that?
I believe it is.
Yeah, so that's coming out this year. The Rabbids, what'd you say, Keith?
Same day as Mario Odyssey, I believe.
Yeah, so right. So the Mario Rabbids game is coming out this year. To me, Beyond Good and Evil 2 was probably one of the best announcements of E3. The way that they done it. And that's gonna play. The reason I'm saying it this way, because when I get to another place, it's gonna play into what I'm saying. Presentation to me is important for E3. The presentation matters just as much as the games that are shown. The way that you present the games matter to me, and I think Ubisoft presentation with their games and the passion that they show, like the dude literally kind of choking up on stage after the reaction for uh, Beyond Good and Evil 2, and the fact that we've been waiting on this game almost a decade, and here it is, and they had this big blown out high res CG thing ready to go to kind of give you a glimpse of where they looking to go with the game. And I just thought it was overall, outside of the Just Dance crap, like they need to really get that under lock and key, like throw them at the what I guess the pre-conference show. Let them dance it up while we wait to see the conference, because that to me was a waste of time. So I would have gave them a low A, but since they had all that Just Dance stuff, I gave them a B plus. I thought they did good, man. Honestly, I like the Starlinks. I think that, or is it Skylinks? Is it Starlink or Skylink?
Star.
Yeah, I like Starlinks. I don't care for the
Actually, it could be Skylink. I'm confused now.
It's one of the two. It's Starlink or Skylink, one of the two. But I like that game. I'm hoping that it's not a microtransaction mess, and I'm not feeling the whole toy thing that's on your controller. Even though you can do that digitally, you don't have to buy that stuff. But I'm not even big on amiibo, so of course that kind of was like, nah, I do the digital if I do anything. But I just overall I liked Ubisoft's press conference outside of the Just Dance stuff. I throw that Keith and then K-Bomb.
I'm right there with you. I think Ubisoft did a great job. They had one of the biggest surprises of E3 with Beyond Good and Evil 2. And I had to say, man, they were showing a lot of love to that Mario plus rap game. It should be good. I hope people
Come up a little bit. Your mic going out.
on my speakerphone.
Okay.
No, I was saying that the Mario and Rabbids game looks pretty good, and I hope people go out and support that unique XCOM type Mario type game. I really didn't need to see Assassin's Creed again. I don't know why they felt the need to run it again. But overall, the presentation would just like you just did, they could have left that out. Didn't really need that. The girl could sing, but I didn't really need. I didn't care. It had nothing to do with nothing. I don't even think they showed the game. They just showed a performance.
Yeah.
Ubisoft did a good. I'm trying to think if they showed anything else. Oh, they showed the Skull and Bones, that Battleship game.
Yeah.
I'm feeling that. I don't think that's something I'm going to get into, but I'm glad it's there. The creativity, like you were saying, with Starlinks or Skylinks, whichever the one. That's Ubisoft stepping out of the box like they always do and trying to get.
Step up a little bit more. You sound like you way far back.
All right, phone was in my mouth. Or the Skylinks, however you call it, it's I like the creativity behind it, but yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and pass the K-Bone.
Okay. K-Bone.
Yeah. So again, this is where my comment is going to differ from the rest of the internet. Apparently, at least the people that I see on Twitter that kind of follow me and I follow them. So I'll start off by saying I thought the Miyamoto presentation was really cool. The game looked really slick. It was not your standard just Mario game, even though Mario was on there. I like the mix with the rabbits. What they call
Rabbits. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. I like the the chemistry between them and the Mario characters. I thought that was pretty cool. I give them a really thumbs up with that. Everything after that, man. So I'll say this: the way I feel about Ubisoft is the way most people feel about EA. I don't trust them. They're liars. They are liars.
Okay, we gonna have to flesh this out. We're gonna have to flesh this out tomorrow. But anyway, go ahead.
They have lied to me too many times, and I've gone out and purchased their games, and I have been lied to. So the same way people feel about EA not caring, they're evil. When I see Ubisoft and their crap, I feel the same way. And it could be bitterness. I mean, I'm not ashamed to admit it. They killed out my favorite franchise. I've not seen a good Prince of Persia since the PS2 days. So it could be some bitterness floating around there. But anything they show, I take it with a grain of salt, because they have lied to you at E3 repeatedly after repeatedly. And so I thought it was terrible the way they handled the showing of Assassin's Creed. You're going to show us a game that we just saw, but then you're going to show it while looking at a TV screen, not even direct link with glare on it. I didn't understand why they did that. And the Just Dance, I mean, it was cool to Just Dance. I mean, I didn't care for it. They go ahead, sing, dance all you want. I didn't know who that girl was, but she was kind of cute. And I know they saw the Beyond Good and Evil. I have no relationship with that game. I've never played the first one, so the reveal of it didn't affect me. But I will agree with Level, and I will say that there was a lot of passion in those game developers. I know the guy who they showed at the beginning with Miyamoto, who was in the audience. I know he was almost in tears just seeing that everything go down. And the guy who showed Beyond, so I did see a lot of passion behind Ubisoft. So that's cool, but I don't trust these guys. That's pretty much how I feel. So I know I'm in a small boat, but my boat is I still think EA did a little bit better job. Ubisoft, I nothing at Ubisoft conference I want to play. There was nothing shown that I wanted to play, and they even showed DLC for a game. I know we got some other people showing that. A lot of people did that this E3, but they showed the DLC for Steep as part of their conference. So I don't trust them. CGI trailers, gameplay. I don't trust any of it until I actually see it. And I haven't played Assassin's Creed since Assassin's Creed 2. So yeah, there we go.
Now, I feel like I liked Assassin's Creed Origin. I think I like what I saw.
It
I'm
looks
not
good.
gonna sit up
It
and
looks
act
good.
like
Looks good.
yeah, it looks good to me. Assassin's Creed looked like a solid game to me. Mario Rabbids look like some. Now I'm not into them tactical. I've never really got into those type of games, but I think I would give Mario Rabbids Battle something. I can't think of the full name. I'll probably give it a shot. Check it out. It looked kind of fun and kind of cracky and wacky and all that stuff. So I might give it a shot. But the Beyond Good and Evil, it was the fact that all of us is no, I'm not big on Beyond Good and Evil as others, but I know how others feel about. I know how the majority feel about that game, and the fact that it was like a Zelda. It was like a Zelda-like game back in the day, and many people really enjoyed it and didn't feel like it got just it's just due when it came out. A really slept-on franchise, and then Ubisoft never brought it back or was hinting at it, but it showed
But
trailers of a possible game.
they've shown trailers of CGI of
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They showed the trailer of
they're
CGI.
liars. Because they're
Yeah,
liars.
they can. So, uh, but to see it and to see that they had, at least they put together something to get you excited about it. Even though it was just like you said, it didn't show you no real gameplay, but enough to get your juices turned. Like, man, you see what they put together. So I thought their presentation was great. Even though if the game don't come, then that's on Ubisoft. I mean Ubisoft, but the presentation was good to me, and that's really what stood out to me. Because to me, E3 is all about spectacle. It's all about excitement. Is all about the experience, not just the games you're going to see, but the entertainment that these companies are going to show and give you. Because you be waiting for this all year long, so you're looking for this elaborate display of awe and shock and wow and games and introduction to the game, and all that plays a part. The impression plays a part, and so the presentation has to be there as well, not just games and without any spazz, you know any thought into the presentation. So I thought not EA, but Ubisoft, out of all the conferences that I saw, Ubisoft seemed to be on point with their presentation, plus showing you games, if that makes sense. So I thought they did good. Keith, you got anything you want to add to Ubisoft before we move to Sony?
No, but I see you setting it up though.
Yeah, I'm setting it up. Yeah. So right now, at this present time, to me, and we do this before we get out of here. Ubisoft has up to this point, out of all the press conferences in the order that we've seen, we didn't even talk about Bethesda, but there was nothing that I saw. I didn't see Bethesda's press conference, so I can't speak on it. But from testimonies that I've seen from other videos across the board, everybody was basically like, "Man, it wasn't much or nothing." So I ain't gonna even bother with talking about it unless y'all seen it.
No, I hadn't seen it.
Nope.
Okay, nope.
Nope.
All right, well, move on. So nobody. So that tells you about Bethesda. So let's go to Sony. And since Keith was kind of quiet, I'm gonna throw it to Keith. Then it go to K-Bum. What's your thoughts on Sony, Keith?
Well, you much set it up. I don't know if people were paying attention to what you were saying, but I think they had a bad press conference. They lacked the press conference. Didn't have any type of motivation to even be there. It seems like we're Sony. We're gonna throw you some games. We know you and you don't like them, but like if you were watching it, I don't know how it was when you were there, because I heard a lot of people say it was a good conference when you were there, but watching it over the internet, man, it felt like so blah. Like they didn't even care. They showed games that they've already showed. I think at the PlayStation Experience, they showed games, didn't give any dates. We don't even know if those games are coming this year. They had a portion of the conference where they talked about PlayStation VR, and to me, VR is something you have to experience. Just showing it in a press conference is not gonna get anybody's mouth watering. There was a portion. I think what's his name, Jack Tretton. I think he came out and he was like, "Okay, everybody breathe," and I'm like, "Man, did nobody care what just happened? Yeah, you're all dead. They're ready."
That is true. I forgot about that part. But I was watching that and the NBA finals, so I was distracted. But go ahead.
But I mean, at the end of the day, Sony games probably are going to be better than every other, than Microsoft and Ubisoft or whatever. But it's just like you were saying, the presentation, how you present those games, it really plays a factor. Like the fact that there was so much emotion behind the Ubisoft games makes me want to play those games and give those guys my money because actually seem like they cared. And I want to end on the last game, the Detroit game that actually stood out to me. I think that game is going to be huge. I think it's going to have a deep connotation that needs to be, or something that we've never approached in gaming, as far as like the whole racial thing and stuff like that. Okay, man.
Yeah.
I think what's the guy named Jesse something, but
Jesse Williams.
yeah, yeah. I think that game is going to be pretty unique. I'm not really sold on the gameplay, but the story and the motivation behind that game, I think that's going to be real. It's going to be a real game. It's going to be a hit. And I'm in.
Okay. All right. K-Bun, what's your take on Sony, man?
All right. So I've said this before. I've said it on Twitter, and I'll say it here. And everyone knows me as the Sony guy, so I'll give my 2 cents while being honest. So I didn't actually get a chance to see the first 30 minutes of the Sony press conference. I was with a friend in a meeting, so I couldn't actually catch it. So I caught the last bit of it, last 30 minutes of the actual press conference. So and I just have the synopsis or summary of the first 30 minutes. So I'll tell you what I didn't like. So there was a lot that I didn't like about this press conference. One, why the crap are we showing Call of Duty? Just someone please tell me, why are we showing Call of Duty at a Sony's press conference? Why are we steady doing this? We did this last year. Stop it. No one wants to see Call of Duty. Two, no one wants to see Destiny again. Destiny had a meeting 2-3 weeks ago where they had a big blowout and they showed everything, talked about everything. Why is that on Sony's stage? Someone please tell me, why is Destiny on their stage? Destiny just had a big blow. And now if they would announce maybe something new or something exclusive, and I don't remember if they did, but I don't think they did, then maybe. But just showing, come on, man. So I didn't like that at all. As far as some of the other stuff, I'm actually was that yeah, okay. So the last piece of what I didn't like, I didn't like not seeing some of the games I saw last year. The game where you're kind of the police officer guy and you keep rewinding time and doing all the consequences. Do you remember that game? Where
yeah, I do.
You remember that? What happened to that?
I didn't even think about it during this press conference. I won't even lie. LeBron was losing.
Yeah. I want to see more of that game. Like, what was that? That was a huge reveal. I thought that game could be huge. And so that was missing. And there was a couple of other things from last year that was missing. I can't. I'll probably go more in detail with it tomorrow.
Yeah, because we already up close, a little bit over 30. Cool. So yeah.
Let me get ready to get close in. So that's what I didn't like. What I did like, still, Keith said it. The two games they showed was, to me, were probably two of the best games in all of the conference, which was the God of War and the Spider-Man. Those two games were, as you can see, just to the T, well made, and just you can see all the time and effort put into those games. So to me that helped. But all in all, they showed a lot of last year without showing some of the stuff they should have showed this year from last year. So I wasn't impressed by what they did. Wasn't, except for God of War and man. Other than that, I wasn't impressed.
Okay. As far as me with Sony, I feel like Sony, to me, that games that they showed was probably the best looking, some of the best looking games. Hands down, probably the best looking games in gaming right now. Sony is making the best looking games. I didn't say the best games, the best eye appeal games in gaming right now. They got that. I feel like presentation was lacking. Again, we come to be we wait all year. It's like Christmas. You wait all year for Christmas. So if the gifts are underwhelming, it ruins the wait. It's like I waited all year for underwhelming gifts. And E3 is like that for me as a gamer. I'm looking for presentation. I'm looking for wow. I'm looking for you to put forth your best effort on all fronts, just not great games, great presentation with those games. And I felt like Keith says, Sony know they're in the lead. They showed us games that we already knew was coming. They look great though. I feel like, and I told you this, K-Bum, I feel like it's too many Uncharted like. They seem like all the games is following the Uncharted formula, the way it looks, the way it plays, the way it controls. This has a familiarity across the board that I feel like is kind of is good as far as the storyline and all that, but it's bad when everything looks like every other title you make. Like now everything is Last of Us and Uncharted and the new Uncharted. Now even God of War has that Uncharted-like feel, look to it, the way it moves, but it did look good though. I won't front say it didn't look good. It did put me in the mind, and we're going into more detail on this, Rise, Son of Rome as well, but we'll flesh that out tomorrow. But overall, I thought Sony, while not being nothing like EA or something like that, I thought Sony was a solid C. They did okay. They did what they needed to do. They ain't dropped the ball, but they definitely didn't. They definitely didn't push the envelope forward. They didn't prove why you should buy a Pro. They didn't prove why you should buy VR. They just stayed the course and said, we winning. Here's some new games. And I mean, here's some games you've seen before. See, go buy them. Peace. That's kind of what Sony did to me. We don't have to prove anything. Our numbers are proving it. So I can't get mad at them. I felt like they could have done more. And I also agree, VR should not be at your press conference because you can't show it. That should be strictly on the show floor to demonstrate and let those who are there talk about the experience, because you can't show VR to the mass watching or viewing audience over TV. It's just you can't do it. So anyway, that's my thoughts on Sony. They wasn't bad. They wasn't great either. They was just there. They plugged. They filled up an empty void spot. You had something to watch, even though I was watching the basketball game. So so anyway, let's move over to.
I did want to clear one thing up. I know apparently I misspoke. And the Detroit game is the same game as the one with all the choices and the android that was the police officer.
Okay, so that is okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's weird to me because those look like two totally different games. What they showed last year and what they showed this year looks like two totally different games. So I don't know about the direction what this game is going in, because I didn't even know they were the same game.
Okay. So let's move on to Nintendo. And I think I want to go first on Nintendo. So
you sure about that?
Yeah, I'm sure about it. And like I said, we're gonna go into detail on this tomorrow because I want to be quick. So I posted up, I made a statement on Twitter. I said that to me, Ubisoft got me more hype for the Switch and for Nintendo than Nintendo. And of course, that caused a fire to a brush fire to go across my timeline of people can't believe I felt this way. Let me say this. To me, if Sony had the best looking games as far as visually, I think Nintendo had the most appealing games as far as playing. Like, to me, the game of E3 is Mario Odyssey. I think hands down, that's the game of E3. I mean, as far as what you can play, what's there to be enjoyed from the across the board, filling all facets. Mario Odyssey is knocking it out across the boards, visuals, gameplay, excitement, thrill, all that is there in Odyssey. So, and I also take Odyssey out of the equation for my feelings towards Nintendo's spotlight. I felt like Nintendo, like Sony, did not pay enough attention to presentation. This is your first time bringing the Switch to E3. Your presentation should have been like when you first did the digital event at E3 for the first time. I thought you should have a presentation like that with these games. But like when Iwata and Reggie fought and then Smash Brothers showed up and like none of that was there. There was no presentation to this. It was just, okay, here's what did they start out with? What was the first game they started out with, Keith?
With a montage, they showed up with a montage of Splatoon, Arms.
Yeah, after that, Reggie talked. Then what did they come with?
Well, Xenoblade.
Xenoblade. Okay, Xenoblade looked good, right? It looked amazing. It's a great looking. It's a nice looking game. I'm not gonna say I'm into JRPGs and stuff like that, but I mean I'm considering starting to give them a shot. I passed on X Xenoblade X Chronicles on the Wii U because of the control style. I didn't like how it was being described, so I passed on it. But I mean, it looked good. And then they came, I think they showed Pokemon and some other stuff and told us that a Pokemon is being developed for the Switch. Yet the presentation was horrible. They told us one is being made, but they had no presentation with it. They told us about Metroid Prime 4. And dude, I'm out my seat. When I saw that 4, then I saw that symbol form behind it that that's Samus. I'm like, oh my God, they finna show Metroid Prime 4. And then Metroid Prime font show up and 4 and all this. I'm like, oh, we finna see some Metroid Prime, and it just fades out. And they go to another. And I'm like, that really annoyed me. Don't get me all excited and then show me nothing but a font for 10 seconds. So presentation was what Nintendo lacked to me, not games. I thought the Yoshi game looked cool. That's Unreal Engine 4. And it looked real good. Kirby, that's like the 20th Kirby game we unseen in the last 3 years. It looked good, but I think they need to chill out on all these Kirby games. And a lot of those games are filler titles. They don't feel like an E3 title. They feel like filler titles. And what else did they show? Like I said, I don't want to be long because we said we're going to be short. So overall, I thought Nintendo did decent. It was okay. It wasn't what I was hoping for. I felt like they could have killed it and really set the Switch up to be this monster appealing. I feel like what they did was appeal to the fan base and really didn't appeal beyond the fan base. Metroid Prime, if you wasn't into Metroid Prime, them putting that logo up there make you want to play Metroid Prime. If you wasn't in Beyond Good and Evil, that showcase from Beyond Good and Evil 2 would probably get more people to be like, man, this looks kind of cool. So presentation was what Sony and Nintendo lacked to me, along with EA. I thought Microsoft presentation was decent. The games just wasn't there. I thought Ubisoft overall had it all together outside of Just Dance. But I would give Nintendo a B-, C+, somewhere around there. It wasn't bad, but it definitely wasn't. It didn't win them E3. I don't know what these folks talking about. That Metroid Prime 4 announcement won them E3. I think that's hypocrisy. I think that's very hypocritical, and I will flesh that out tomorrow. Go ahead, K-Bum, then Keith.
I go see.
No, my bad. No, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm trying to get my mute off. My bad. I'm here. All right. So let me be really quick. I like some of the points that Level hit on. One thing I do want to hit at, since I'm apparently I'm the guy that called everyone hypocrites. So I'll start off with this. I do want to say for those who were super excited for the Metroid Prime 4 reveal, that's awesome, and that you should be excited for that game and when it's coming out. But don't use your same breath or your same lack of excitement to hate on when it's done by other companies. Because of Beyond Good and Evil, at least they gave you a trailer for that. And people got excited. No, you didn't see gameplay. I know a lot of people talk about if it ain't gameplay, it ain't worth seeing. It ain't gameplay, it ain't worth seeing. But I know some people who say that that were excited just to see the fact that there was a Metroid Prime in development. So for those people, if you can get excited about the system of your choice, game that you have not seen but nothing but letters, and get excited for it, don't use your same breath to make someone else feel bad or say that, well, you didn't see gameplay when they see a game maybe even better by having a trailer there showing you what the game could be like. Don't use your same breath to downplay their excitement. Let them be excited just like you were excited. So let me step off of my soapbox on that one. All right. So I'm just gonna be very quick. So I'm gonna go into the point that level talked about right before you ended. I think Nintendo did a good job of giving fan service to their fans, of giving some of that nostalgia to their fans by the games they show. Kirby, Yoshi, Mario, Xenoblade, announcing Pokemon, Metroid. I thought they did a great job of fan service. There was a lot of things that lacked. The thing is, if you did not own a Wii U or didn't care about Wii U, nothing in Nintendo's press conference made you want to get a Switch. If you were not interested in the games that were on the Wii U. So that's one of the things that I thought they did a poor job of showing is well, you didn't buy this console, but hey, this console is gonna have this game instead. I was want that game instead, which is what you do when you maybe show third party, or I think Level said this when we were talking back and forth, is even indie titles can take that stage and you can give them time to show unique and different gameplay in your system instead of just touting around the same mascots. So I don't think they did a good job of. I think Level kind of hit it right on the head. They didn't do a good job of selling to the people who maybe who were contemplating, getting the Switch, who didn't really even give the Wii U a thought. I don't think they showed them really anything to get them to jump on board. So I'll end it there because I'm not going any further with that. But that's just the points I want to put out. We can go in more detail tomorrow.
Keith.
All right. Okay. So I'm not going to disagree with you guys. However, of course, I have a different opinion. I think they had a great. Well, it had a. I'll say great. I think what Nintendo, they were very strategic in what they did. Nintendo showed you games that were coming out this year, right? They showed you for every month there's going to be a major or a big AAA title. We got Arms coming out in what 2 days. Then after that, Splatoon. Then after that, what is August? That would be the Mario Rabbids game. Then I forgot September. I think it's Pokken, and then you got Odyssey, and then you got 2 more months, and you still got Xenoblade Chronicles that's coming out this year. Fire Emblem Warriors is coming out this year. So they showed you a bunch of games that you're going to be able to play this year. Now, and none of those games, as K-Bon said, if none of those games really tickle your fancy, then you still don't want to switch. You know what I'm saying? Also, other games, now, focusing on the presentation, no, they did all right. But as other people have said, we walked away from this conference still confused out of a lot of stuff that they still haven't addressed. You know, they showed us the games, but there's online portion that they haven't talked about. You know, all the other things that they haven't talked about that we thought that they were going to address, and they didn't do that. So with that, I have to bring it down. Fourth Metroid Prime 4. I said that a few years ago. I was like, man, if you could just give me a title screen and let me know that you're working on it, I'll be perfectly happy with that. So with that, they are future proofing themselves by letting you know that if you like Metroid Prime back in the day, we're bringing it back with the sequel. Well, the fourth game in the series, and also a mainline Pokemon game is coming. So they gave you enough. They gave you what you're going to get this year, and then they also gave you what you're going to get next year. Now, what I don't like about what Nintendo does, they showed the games. And I gave Sony harsh criticism for that, and I'm gonna give Nintendo harsh criticism for that. they showed the same games. Even though they gave us dates, still the same games. So there was no wow about seeing these games again. But I'm gonna end it there. We can go into more details tomorrow. I'm gonna write
Yeah.
them. So.
Yeah, and I think that's a perfect place to end, man. Like I said, overall, I enjoyed different aspects of every press conference. I don't feel like this was a bad E3. It definitely wasn't a wow. I think last year's E3 wowed me a lot more than this year's, and pretty much because we saw, except for Nintendo, because Nintendo wowed us with Zelda last year. Just one game. That's crazy how Nintendo killed it with just showing you Zelda. It didn't even have it didn't even have a digital event, and they knocked it out the park. But this year, to me, I felt like we as Nintendo fans sometimes, and K-Bum and Keith kind of put it, they had great games. I would never say they didn't. But what we praise Nintendo about, we criticize other companies when they do it, and this is the reason to knock them. And we seem to praise Nintendo when they did it and give them the win. And I just felt like, dude, E3 to me, and we end it here, is presentation, games, and experience. When you leave there, you're supposed to feel like you experienced something. I didn't feel like I experienced anything with Nintendo outside of them being what they are, great game developers. I felt like Ubisoft wanted me to feel how they felt about their games, and I did. That resonated with me off the screen. I thought Microsoft tried to do that. They just didn't have the games to do it with, but the presentation was there. The games worked. So I can't say they was better than Nintendo, because Nintendo had games that I want to play, but the presentation was horrible. So it didn't make anybody that's outside of the Nintendo fan base excited. So I got to be honest with that. But anyway, we'll flesh this out tomorrow at 8:30 for the Live and Level Gamers podcast. This was just our quick E3 review. Let us know what you think. Until next time, folks, do y'all got anything else y'all want to say, folks, before we get out of here?
I'm good.
Okay. This is K-Bum 20, Keith Norris, and yours truly, Levelhead. You really want to get into depth with us, tune in tomorrow at 8:30 for the Live and Level Gamers podcast with D2K and all the rest. We'll be there. To then, deuces.